Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V, where we are intentional about connecting you with other entrepreneurs that have overcome and can provide value to the audience. It's Dr. V here, where our coaching program teaches nurses to work on their computers anywhere around the world, making money and owning their own time, building profitable nurse coaching and consulting businesses. So today we have my friend, the amazing Nancy Clark, the amazing. And so I say that because of how she shows up in the world. And I say this all the time, and I will say this all the time, that the people who show up and they show out, then those are the ones that I want to be friends with. And from the very beginning, she has always been one of those people that has always shown up, always been amazing from the very, very beginning. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So if you had to give a brief bio of who you are, so tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. V. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here, believe it or not. My name is Nancy Clark. I am the CEO of Savergenics. Savergenics is a CPR company and Pure Imagination Consulting, where we do consulting for short-term rental businesses. I describe myself always as an ordinary girl trying to do extraordinary things. That's just how I always answer that. And simply because, you know, growing up, it was not something for me to think about being in business and where I am now or impacting lives. So to be in this capacity and know that, you know, little old me with the pigtails I was running around when I was younger would be in a position to impact other lives it's truly amazing. It's amazing.
I love it. I love it. So now tell us, now you immigrated here from Haiti.
Now, my mom immigrated from Haiti.
Okay, your mom immigrated from Haiti. And so where did she move to?
So New York.
Okay.
So I was born and raised, my brother and I were born and raised in Brooklyn, New York.
We can't tell by your accent. We can't tell.
Okay, it's gone. It's gone. I left New York. I left in 2004, I think it was. I think it was 2004, Veterans Day, when I met my then boyfriend, now husband. He was out here getting his PhD at Howard. So I was just done with nursing school. So tag, you're it kind of thing. So I had to leave, which was fine. But yeah, I think the New York accent is gone. But we still do have the best pizza. And when I go back home, like, I'm just saying. But yeah, we you know, born and raised in Brooklyn. Just to give a little background, you know, everything was normal, like a normal childhood. Age of 13, parents decided to separate and divorce. You know, my mom held it down. I get my strength from my mother. You know, we can fight all the time, but I get my strength from my mother. She managed entry-level job, you know, as she migrated here. Education was back home, so it was limited. But she managed to keep a roof over our head and made sure I went to private school all the way through high school. I don't know how she did it. She's good with money, I tell you that. To learn from her, she's good with money. But she maintained a roof over her head. I went to nursing school. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I kept, you know, people in your head keep telling you to do this, do that. So I settled down on nursing school. I felt nursing was diverse. You could do a lot of things as a nurse. So I decided to look into nursing and loved it. I actually grew up wanting to be an obstetrician. So I'm glad I went into nursing because I do love it. So it was a good choice. Graduated from nursing school and moved out to Maryland. Got my I graduated with my associates. I went back for my bachelor's and I went back for my master's. So here I am.
So tell me, you worked full time through nursing school. So what was that like?
Woo, that was rough. Back then, and I don't even know if they have that now, but back then I was able to go to school, what they call part-time nursing school. So like a 2-year degree would be like 4 or 5 years because I worked full time during the day and 2 days out of the week I'd be in class, and on the weekends we'd be in clinicals the whole time. So I remember age of 24, I remember moving out and I had to get my own place because I needed that space to kind of spread out, you know, just books everywhere. a lot of nights crying, a lot of nights coming back, leaving the library when it shut down at midnight to turn around and go to work the next morning. But at the end of the day, I knew I had to be done. I had to finish. You know, when you live back in the day when it's like, when I get it, you get it. When the bill comes, that's how I was doing. I had to put myself through school, you know, with loans and stuff like that. So I had to do what I had to do to push through. So that, you know, like, again, I say I get my strength from my mother. I watch her push through no matter what obstacles she's faced. So I get the tenacity from her.
And, you know, and that's the thing. That's the key. You know, whenever you're in business, the key is just pushing through, because there's some times when you're going to want to stop, right? But there's some times when you wanted to stop in nursing as well. But pushing through and understanding that there is a prize on the other side of that is key. So someone from Facebook, which we can't see who's commenting from Facebook, said morning, ladies. So good morning.
Good morning.
So now you almost gave up. So tell us about, you went into the business of the CPR business. But you almost gave up. So tell us a little bit about that.
I did. So I kind of stumbled into business, right? Like, I grew up in the city, like in Manhattan. People didn't look like me that were, you know, walking around with suits and briefcases. So thinking about having my own business when I grew up wasn't something that was readily in my head. I didn't grow up around a lot of entrepreneurs. So I exposed my kids to that now, right? Like, I didn't have that when I was younger. So I was working, and we needed, you know, people to be CPR or employees to be CPR certified. So I was like, oh man, the person that was here, she left. So we were just trying to figure out, like, who's going to do it. And I just said, let me just see what you need to do. And I figured it out, and I got certified to teach it. Got my equipment, and I taught it. It wasn't a business. I was just teaching it. And one day I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, there's benefits to this. Hold on. My husband was having a conversation with me. He's like, you need to make this a business. I was like, okay. So I just registered for business, but I kept doing like a side hustle. Then I had to pause again and was like, wait a minute. If I'm going to, like, I know how I am. I don't like doing things halfway. So I was like, wait a minute. So I need to, like, really treat this like a business. But at the time, I didn't really have the knowledge, the coaching on how to make it a business. So I got really frustrated. I was ready to give up. I didn't know how to get any clients. You know, it was just the people at work. So my friend Jamisha, who I love, and you know, I remember this vividly. It was summer. It was nice outside. I was pacing outside of my front door outside. And I remember this vividly. And I was telling her, I was like, Nish, it's like, I'm ready to be done. Like, this is too much. I got work. I got, you know, trying to find people to teach CPR, and I got to make it a whole business. You know, all the things you think about. I remember her telling me, no, miss, don't give up. Don't give up. There's a lot of people out there that can help you. And she shared B&E with me. At the time, when she mentioned it, I was in the IG group. And she was like, no, you need to get in the Facebook group. So when I got in the Facebook group, that's when I met one of the people like yourself. Yana and my now partner. So it's like B&E opened up pretty much a whole world for me. A whole world of just entrepreneurship that I knew nothing about. So I got a lot of my training, education, coaching, like, honestly, from B&E. And I kept pushing forward. I pushed forward in CPR. Everything was going good. I had coaching at the time, up until last year, end of last year, when I pivoted to short-term rental.
I love it. You know, and one of the things that I always say, that you're the sum total of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. The reality is that, you know, business is difficult, but nursing is as well. So you pick your heart, right? You pick which one you want to do, and then you go for it. Whereas you have a little bit more leverage with your business than you do in, you know, working for someone else. Also understanding that you want to surround yourself with bosses, right? Because you want to see that representation. And that was key. That was a true key as to how, you know, I was able to leverage up, because of the fact that I was able to see all of those people, just like you said, the people that were doing the things. The things that we see all the time, right? It's key. So tell me a little bit about business credit, because everybody wants to know how to leverage.
So my story for business credit is kind of interesting. During my time teaching CPR, being a CPR instructor, I used my little $3,000 Wells Fargo credit card. So when you opened the bank account, I was pre-approved for a $3,000 credit card, and I thought like, oh my God, I was the bomb. I got a business card. Oh no. I use a lot of my money for CPR training. That business, I use a lot of my money. I did not know anything about business credit. I didn't even know what it was. Which if I can go back, I would change things. But it wasn't until I wanted to get into short-term rental, like right before that, I started learning about business credit and what it was. And I was like, you can do what? You can have how many cards? And you can, wait, what? So luckily and fortunately, my personal credit was on point. Like my personal credit is very good, right? So I did the things to find out and educate myself. I got a coach. You have to get coaches. Like my thing is, you can try to YouTube. I YouTube, I'll Google, but to a certain extent. At the end of the day, if you want it done and you want it done right and quick, and you're not wasting time and money, you need to get a coach. Somebody who's already done it, that's just going to lead you down the path. Boom, it's done. Right. So I got myself a credit coach. Thank God my stuff on the personal side was good. I did all the things with the tiers that people usually do, but I was able to leverage my personal credit and get cards like right away. So I literally, and when my friends see me, they laugh because I literally have one wallet for my personal credit cards and another wallet for my business credit cards. The red one, when I pull that red one out, that's all business. Like I'm like addicted at this point with credit cards. But that's what's going to help you leverage your business, right? Like a lot of people, they're hesitant in going into business because they feel as though I don't have enough money. It's never going to be the right time. So let's not even talk about that. It's never going to be the right time to have your own business. Let me just put that out there, because we all have that thought process, that imposter syndrome that blocks us. And that's always a thought that comes through. Then it's like, oh, I don't have any money, right? Like, if you're using your own money, stop, pause. Go find out about business credit. If you are using your own money to even start, or if you think that you couldn't start because you don't have enough of your own money, go find out about business credit. Get educated. Make sure your business is solid, is registered, it's sitting on a good foundation, right? I'm not going to go into that, but there's a way that your business has to be set up so that it's compliant. Right? Because that's going to help you scale. You do that from the start, you're good. Because when you start applying for business credit, they're going to start looking into your business, right? Even down to your phone number. People don't take that stuff seriously. So you will try to apply for a stamps card. They stand right there and give you a call. You better answer the phone.
Oh, wow. Do they?
Yeah, they will do that. So I had to go back actually, because I had the Gmail account. I was using my home address for my business. I was just YouTubing it. Honestly, I was just, YouTubing it. But I learned I had to go back, structure it properly, right? Have everything in place, leverage my own personal credit. And then I was building business credit on top of that. And that's what helped me get into short-term rental business.
So I want to expound upon that a little bit. So you were using your own home address. So now it's a virtual address.
Yes.
And part of that is when you send out emails, because you want to nurture your clients via emails. And when you send out emails, if you have your personal email address, personal address, then that's what's going to show up at the bottom of those emails. And you don't want people coming to your house, number one.
Yep.
And you want to make sure that you have other things in place, like your phone number, like you said, in order to be able to do that. And not a Gmail account. You need an account with a domain name. You need to buy your domain name from, you can get it from anywhere. ClickFunnels, GoDaddy, wherever you want to get it from, you can get your domain name, which is super, super important, because you cannot send out multiple emails with a Gmail account. It won't send, it will get kicked back, and then things will happen. But those things are the things that coaches teach you.
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And so you had to go back and restructure all that, because initially you didn't have a coach, and then you found out the value in coaching. Okay, so go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, to your point, when someone looks up your business, or they were looking at my business at the time, because it's public information. So if you think of it that way, your business is public information. So if you have your home address on there, they're gonna come pay you a visit at home. They're
Exactly.
calling your personal phone up. Yeah, and that it shouldn't be that way, right? And when we're talking about leveraging and scaling up, right? So when we going into business, we're never thinking about we're going to stay in the same place. We always envision ourselves. We planning for the future, right? We leveling up. So if you plan on leveling up, you can't be doing stuff like using your home address and Gmail accounts and stuff like that. So I say get it right from the beginning. Once you get it right from the beginning, you start scaling and you're going into credit and stuff like that to leverage. Now, see, I started with CPR, but now I'm in a totally different business. Now, had I not had things in place the way it could have been, I wouldn't have been able to even scale up or even switch businesses the way I did, right? Or add on another business like that. So it's super important to make sure that you have everything in place from the beginning and get a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Get a coach.
So now tell me about solopreneurship as a part versus partnership, because first you started out as a solopreneur and now you have a partnership. Now there's key components, because I think that people, and I was one who thought that I could just go into partnership with just, anybody that I wanted to. If I liked you a little bit, then we could go into partnership with each other. One of the things that one of my mentors said that literally it was a game changer for me. She said, when you are going into partnership with someone, you need to make sure that their credit score is good.
There you go.
And I said, and I was like, and so she said, they need to have, and that's an uncomfortable conversation, right? Because, it just is, but, business is controversial. It just is what it is. I mean, when you are the CEO, that's what you have to deal with. That's the reason why you're the CEO, right? And so she said that they need to have a credit score of at least 700 or above. And I was like, oh. So I went and had a conversation, and the conversation was a little different. So tell me, what are the things that you have found to be so the difference between the two?
Yeah, like here's the thing, there's nothing wrong with being a solopreneur. There's nothing wrong with that. But having a partner just takes you to another level. And for me, right? Like, and it's not to say that if you are, sole member in your business that you can't level up. Like, like you were saying before, get in the room with like-minded people, surround yourself with entrepreneurs. You can have a network that can help you and support you as a solo entrepreneur to scale up in your business and to move. I'm not saying that you can't do that. But partnership, it's scary. It's a little scary because, like you said, like you got into partnership, I like you just a little bit. It has to be, you have to take the personal out of it. And is this really someone I can really be in business with, right? Like, yeah, and like to your point, you hit the nail right on the head. What's that credit looking like? Because just like you're building your own business, right? And we talk about building the foundation and building the credit and leveraging and scaling. It's no different when you partners, right? So I'm bringing my business like credit and everything else. They're bringing theirs, and we're making it one, right? So if my credit score is 500, and we putting the business together, they bet I ain't gonna work.
Exactly. Because you have to be, do, have, right? So you have to become a certain person in order to do a certain thing, in order to have what you want to have. But if you're not already that person, then how are you going to come together with me and try to make that happen, right?
Exactly. And, partnership has been good. It's been really good. It's, we're the building phase. You have to get through the building phase. You have to have agreements in place. You have to have contracts in place. You have to have an understanding of how each other is. I always say it's like when you get into a relationship. I always use that analogy, and that's really what it is. You may know each other as friends, but when you business partners, it's something totally different. There's a certain level of trust that you have to be able to have for that person. That's real. The person you knew yesterday may not be the person you see tomorrow in business. So you have to, even though you may have been friends, you have to make sure you're treating it still like a business. It has, you're going to have those top tough conversations. You're going to have those moments where things are great and have those moments when you don't even want to see each other. I mean, that's just the reality of it, right? But at the end of the day, you have to make sure that your mission and your vision and your core values, they are the same. They are the same. Because if not, I'm gonna be going in one direction and she's gonna be going in another direction. So we've had those conversations, right? And you know, it's you have to really sit down and have those conversations to know, okay, it's not just, oh, you know, some people will partner with somebody else because they're doing good and you want to get in on the game. That's not how you do that. That's not what partnership is about, right? So you have to bring something to the table, right? So I'm bringing something to the table. She's bringing something to the table, and together we're gonna blow up. That's just how it's gonna go. That's just how it's gonna go. That's how it should go, right? Because you can't have a partner coming to the table and they're not, you know, they're not bringing nothing to the table. There are things that she's just that's just her ministry. She's just good. And there are things that I do that's my ministry. You know what I mean? But when you put those together, it can only go up. But you got to have those tough conversations and have fun. Like I'm that person. Like I can't be miserable at work. I don't care if it's a 9 to 5 or your own business. You know, you have to it's entrepreneurship. People think, oh, working for yourself is less work. You do what you want when you want to do. You have the leverage of time, right? But I find it to be harder, honestly, than a 9 to 5. Only because everything that you're doing, it's on you. You are the CEO. You're not just going into work, clocking in, right, and doing whatever, clocking out, and you know that paycheck gonna come regardless, right? So that CEO, you got to take it seriously, and you are your face, you are your brand. So it's a totally different level. So whoever you're partnering with, you have to make sure you both have the same mission, same vision, and same core values. Like that's key.
And when you talk about entrepreneurship, and that, you know, that is true for that. But I think one of the things with entrepreneurship is that you're doing what you like to do, you know. So it doesn't feel like you are, you know, even though you are working, you will work in the business, because Facebook.
That's where the fun part. That's where the fun part come in, though.
Right.
For me,
right.
For me, right? Because you're doing what you love. It's hard work, and you're gonna work. But you doing what you love to do every single day. And when you flip them covers off in the morning, you're like, oh man, I gotta go to this place again. Nurses, we know.
Right.
We know we know that feeling, right? Like, oh dang. But when you flip them covers off, you're like, all right, let's go get it today. That's a whole different feeling. That's a whole different feeling. So if you on the brink, you gotta trust your faith, trust yourself, and go in. And just go in and give yourself a shot. Hopefully that you're surrounding yourself with people who are supportive, because you may need that support to get off the ground. But man, it's a whole different level. It's a whole different level.
So what have you found to be, like, if someone wanted to go into, like, they just wanted to go into business for themselves, what is the number one piece of information that you would give them?
Know your why. Know your why. Like, I don't know a coach that wouldn't tell you that. If you don't have, I mean, we all have purpose, right? And we have to figure out sometimes what that purpose is, or a light bulb will go off and like, all right, this is why God put me here. All right, I was doing this, but I'm supposed to be over here, right? But you have to know your why. Like, why do I want to work so hard as an entrepreneurship? Why do I want to be in business as a CEO, be my own CEO, as opposed to just going to get a paycheck and come home and, you know, just do Netflix all day long? Like, why do I want to do this? If your why is strong enough and will resonate with you, your why will push you and carry you through every single day. Every single day. Because entrepreneurship is not, when we look at social media and we seeing, you know, all the bling and all the, yeah, we doing it. Not saying some of that's not true, but you have to, there's another side to it that you don't readily see on social media. So if you have your why, like my why is my family, right? Like we always strive to give our kids more than what we had, right? So for me, my why is my family. I want to make sure, like I was bringing them to CPR classes with me. They were setting up with me. You know, if I go set up a unit, they come in with me. I wasn't exposed to that because that's just how the culture was back then, right? But now I have an opportunity to set my family up, not only to show them, okay, you're going to get that education, but what are you going to do with that education, right? It doesn't always have to be go get a job. That's pretty much how I was raised, right? You're going to get your education, you're going to get a good job and take care of your family. Like that was the road, right? My kids, they hear a totally different thing. You're going to get your education, but okay, so what business are we starting? What are you going to do for yourself? It's a totally different conversation that we're having. I want to make sure, my husband and I, we work very hard to make sure that they spoiled. Let me just put it out there. They're spoiled. That they are, and they're good kids. Like, they are good kids. They do well in school. We don't have to worry much. So we're grateful to God for that. But we just want to make sure that they finish school and they're set up, that when they want to go start their own venture in life, right, that they're good. So I'm going to be able to leave something behind. My husband can leave something behind for them, that they don't have to worry and stuff, because it's rough out here. I'm raising 2 boys. It's rough out here. It's rough out here. So,
you know, I love what you said about, you know, going and getting your education and then starting your own business, because Myron Golden said this one time. He said the problem is that we are trying to raise our children based off the principles of what our parents instilled in us. So our parents instilled in us to go to school, get a job, work that job for 60 years, and then die. Whereas now, you know, the paradigm has shifted, and it's a different shift where it's go to school, own your own business, and then, you know, live during that time, because we have the ability to be able to work from anywhere. Right? The ability to work from anywhere around the world, make money on our own time. And so when we do that and understand that that is key, because you learn more from doing, right? And so if why would I read in a book how to, you know, what the Maldives look like when I can just go to the Maldives and stay there for a month and then figure it out, right?
World experience.
Exactly. You learn way more like that than you would otherwise. I remember my first time going to Hawaii. And the lady was like, well, which island are you going to? And I was like, well, we're only flying to one island, but I don't know. You tell me. You know, so she was like, well, you know, are you going to explore the other islands? Like, I thought Oahu and the Big Island was the same thing, right? But now I understand that they're 2 different islands, and understand the culture of them, because I'm able to go there and able to see things like that. So that is key. So is there anything else that, like, where can we find you? You do, because we didn't really talk about what that partnership is. So you do Airbnb, okay? And so tell us where we can find you at.
Well, our business combined, and we actually just formed our entity, is Her Wealthy Streams. So Pure Imagination is my own business separately. Her Wealthy Streams, and you guys will be seeing more of that soon as we build that up, is our short-term rental business, where we help burnt out nurses get into the short-term rental business so they can have their, you know, have their own time and freedom from the bedside, as we did. You know, I'm a nurse, my partner's a nurse, and we understand and we know what it's like to be by that bedside, and to be let me be nice about this. Feel like you shackled in a sense. It's hard work, right? It's we want to be able to give, and it's scary sometimes, but we coach others and we help others actually obtain their own unit, and then give them the coaching that they need to be successful, because a lot of people don't know how to run the business. And you know how I do. She's the same way. We do it legit. We have a challenge coming up next week that we've been promoting, you know, so we are very empowered to empower other women, other nurses specifically, to get out there and see what's out there. Like, real estate is a whole different game. It's a whole different game that I opened my eyes to, and I was like, I can do what? You know, there's so much that you can do. And it's not just short-term rental. It's not just there's midterm rental. There's just so much that you can do. So you can find me at Pure Imagination Consulting. We can put, I guess, more information if they want to reach out, or if it's okay with you, as far as the challenge. But it's on my page that the challenge is pretty much you want to explore, get your feet wet, and kind of understand like what this business is about. I would say through the challenge, you know, we do other things for people who are like ready, but yeah, so that's
it. So what we can do on Facebook is you can drop it in the chat, and then they can, and then the link, and then they can just go to the link and get it. That sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan. I appreciate you.
All right. Anytime. You know, I love you. So we will be having a bachelor class on December 7th. We do not have all that will be ready at the end of the week. But not only that, we have a six-figure nurse CEO conference that is coming up. It is going to be a live in-person conference. It's going to be February 24th and 25th in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. It is going to be amazing. So I encourage you to sign up for that. Everything is on the website for that, vpnursing.com. And then that's it. So you guys have a phenomenal rest of your day. And thank you, Nancy, for showing up, because you were just simply
amazing. Thank you for having me.